Ever felt like a heavy stone is weighing down your heart and you just can't shake off that feeling of guilt? It's a sensation we've all grappled with at some point. That gnawing, gut-wrenching feeling of guilt that makes your heart feel as heavy as a lead balloon. It's a universal feeling, one that transcends borders, cultures, and languages. At times, guilt can be as subtle as a whisper, a slight nagging that tugs at the corners of your consciousness. Or it can be as loud as a thunderclap, a deafening roar that drowns out all other thoughts. It can be fleeting, disappearing as quickly as it came, or it can linger, casting a long dark shadow over your days. This feeling of guilt, it's not just an emotional state, it's a psychological phenomenon with significant implications for our mental health. It can lead to anxiety, depression, and a host of other mental health challenges. It can make us feel stuck, unable to move forward, trapped in a cycle of regret and self-recrimination. In the Bible, in Psalms 38:4, it is written, "For my iniquities have gone over my head, like a heavy burden, they are too heavy for me." This verse encapsulates the sheer weight of guilt and how it can feel like an unbearable burden. It's a feeling that can make us lose sight of the fact that we're human, that we're fallible, that making mistakes is a part of our journey. But remember, guilt is not a life sentence. It's a signal, a sign that something needs to change. It's a call to action, an invitation to learn, grow, and evolve. And most importantly, it's a reminder that we are human, that we are capable of making mistakes, and that we also possess the incredible capacity to learn from them. So you're not alone in this. But the question remains, how can we overcome these guilt feelings? The first step towards overcoming guilt is understanding it. Let's imagine guilt as an unwelcome guest at your home. It's not enough to simply know that the guest is there, causing discomfort. To deal with this guest effectively, you need to figure out why they're there in the first place. Similarly, understanding guilt means identifying its source and the reasons behind it. Often, guilt stems from actions that contradict our personal or societal values. It's like a moral compass, alerting us when we've veered off course. This could be anything from telling a white lie to neglecting a responsibility. Other times it's born out of situations beyond our control, like an accident or a natural disaster. It's important to remember that guilt is not a one-size-fits-all emotion. It's unique to each person, shaped by individual experiences, beliefs, and values. Now, before we move further, let's clear up a common misconception. Feeling guilty doesn't make you a bad person. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Guilt shows that you care about your actions and their impact on others. It's a sign of empathy and conscience, qualities that make us human. So, how do we get to the root of our guilt? Start by reflecting on your feelings. Ask yourself, why do I feel guilty? Is it because of something you did or didn't do? Or is it due to circumstances outside your control? Remember, there are no wrong answers here. This is about understanding yourself and your emotions better. Once you've identified the source of your guilt, try to understand the underlying reasons. Did you act against your values, or perhaps you're holding yourself accountable for something that was beyond your control? Recognizing these reasons can help you manage your guilt more effectively. Understanding your guilt is like unlocking a door. It's not about judging yourself harshly, but about acknowledging your emotions and their triggers. This is the first step towards finding a solution. It's the beginning of a journey towards self-forgiveness and healing. It's the path to freeing yourself from the shackles of guilt and embracing a healthier, happier you. Understanding your guilt is like unlocking a door. It's the first step towards finding a solution. After understanding comes acceptance and forgiveness. This is a powerful truth that can guide us on our journey to overcome guilt. Acceptance is the first step towards healing. It's about acknowledging the guilt you're feeling, understanding that it's a part of the human experience and not punishing yourself for being human. It's crucial to realize that guilt is not inherently bad. It's a signal, a signpost pointing us towards the things that matter to us. When we feel guilt, it's because we've acted in a way that doesn't align with our values. And that's okay, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. But we can learn from them, and that's where forgiveness comes in. There's a beautiful passage from the Bible, 1 John 1:9, that speaks to this. It says, "If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness." This passage tells us that forgiveness is available to us, always. All we have to do is reach out and accept it. But forgiveness is not just about seeking it from others or from a higher power. It's also about forgiving yourself. Self-forgiveness is a powerful tool in overcoming guilt. It's about acknowledging that you made a mistake, learning from it, and then letting it go. Here's an affirmation you can use to help cultivate self-forgiveness. I accept my mistakes, I learn from them, and I forgive myself. Repeat this affirmation daily. Write it down, say it out loud, feel it in your heart. This is your mantra for acceptance and self-forgiveness. Another affirmation that can help is, I am human, I make mistakes, and that's okay, I am worthy of forgiveness. Again, repeat this affirmation daily. Write it down, say it out loud, feel it in your heart. Remember, forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. Be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can with what you know. As you learn and grow, you'll do better. And that's all anyone can ask for. Remember, forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. Be gentle with yourself. Once you've forgiven yourself, the next step is to make amends. Making amends is a crucial step in overcoming guilt. It's about reaching out, addressing the wrongs you've committed, and seeking to repair the harm. But remember, it's not just about saying, I'm sorry. It's about demonstrating through actions that you are genuinely remorseful and willing to make things right. Let's illustrate this with a story. Imagine a man named Tom. Tom was quick to anger and often lashed out at his friends. Over time, he noticed his circle dwindling, his friends distancing themselves from him. One day, Tom recognized his flaw. He felt guilty for his actions, and he decided to make amends. Tom didn't just call his friends to say he was sorry, he showed them. He practiced patience, worked on his anger management, and made a conscious effort to be a better friend. He reached out to each friend individually, acknowledged his past behavior, and expressed his sincere regret. He asked for forgiveness, but also acknowledged that they were under no obligation to accept his apology or maintain their friendship. Tom was making amends, and in doing so, he was also working on self-improvement. As Tom made amends, he noticed a weight lifting off his shoulders. The guilt that had been gnawing at him began to subside. The process wasn't easy, but it was necessary, and it was healing not just for his relationships, but for Tom himself. This story of Tom is a testament to the power of making amends. It shows us that apologizing and making amends can be a significant step in alleviating feelings of guilt. It's not about erasing the past, but about acknowledging it, learning from it, and making a conscious effort to do better. Remember, the aim of making amends is not just to receive forgiveness from others, it's also about forgiving yourself and allowing yourself to move forward. It's about healing, growth, and transformation. Making amends doesn't just help those you've wronged, it also helps you move forward. The final step in overcoming guilt is learning from the experience and moving on. It's crucial to remember that guilt, like every other emotion, is not inherently negative. It's an internal signal, a wake-up call, alerting us that something we've done doesn't align with our core values. It's a chance for personal growth. So rather than wallowing in guilt, let's use it as a springboard for change. Imagine guilt as a teacher, a guide, pointing out the areas in your life that need a little extra attention and care. It might be difficult to accept at first, but every mistake we make is an opportunity to learn, to improve, to become a better version of ourselves. And that's a beautiful thing. Let's think about it this way. If we never felt guilt, how would we recognize when we've hurt others or ourselves? How would we know when we've strayed from our own moral compass? Guilt, in its own unique way, helps us stay true to who we are and who we aspire to be. Now, transforming guilt into positive action is not an overnight process. It takes time, patience, and a whole lot of self-compassion. But it starts with one simple step: making a conscious choice to change. It's about choosing to learn from your past, to grow from your experiences, and to move forward with grace and determination. So take that guilt, that feeling of remorse, and channel it into something constructive. Use it to fuel your desire to make amends, to improve your relationships, to better yourself. Turn your guilt into motivation, into a catalyst for positive change. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, but it's how we learn from them that truly matters. So, embrace your guilt, learn from it, grow from it, and then let it go. Because you're not defined by your past mistakes, but by how you choose to respond to them. And that, my friends, is the real power of guilt. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, but it's how we learn from them that truly matters.